Thank you for joining in, sir. Brother, please start.
Oh, yes. Good evening, all of you. Thank you very much. I'm on board.
Good evening.
আমাদের বেঙ্গলের পক্ষ থেকে বঙ্গোপসাগরের অঞ্চলের নিরাপত্তার পরিস্থিতি ও কৌশল ও ভারতের প্রস্তুতি বিষয়ক দ্বিতীয় ওয়েবিনারে আপনাদের সকলকে স্বাগত জানাই। আমরা আমাদের মাঝে আজকে ভাইস অ্যাডমিরাল পরশনাথ স্যারকে পেয়ে আমরা সম্মানিত। অনুগ্রহ করে সবাই শৃঙ্খলার স্বার্থে মাইক্রোফোন মিউট করে রাখুন এবং বিশেষতভাবে হচ্ছে কোনো জিজ্ঞাসা থাকলে আপনাদের প্রশ্নগুলি জমিয়ে রাখুন। এরপর হচ্ছে জমিয়ে রাখুন, এর পরে হচ্ছে আস্তে আস্তে হচ্ছে জিজ্ঞাসা করে নেবেন। আর এরপর আমার সহযোগী দৃষ্টি কিছু কথা বলবেন। দৃষ্টি, আপনি এবার কিছু কথা বলতে পারেন।
Good evening, everyone. I am Drishti, Project Coordinator of Amader, Bengal. I welcome you all to the second webinar of Amader, Bengal on the Bay of Bengal game, security strategy, stakeholders, and India's preparedness. We are honored to have Vice Admiral Parasnath sir with us today. This is to inform you all that this session is being recorded and we are live on YouTube. I request our interns kindly keep your mics muted for discipline, keep your videos on for better engagement, and save your questions for Q&A at the end. Now I request Pratik sir, Operations Director of Sarvodaya the Rice Foundation, to welcome our expert and provide us with a program overview. Sir?
Thank you, Drishti. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vice Admiral sir. Myself, Pratik, the Operations Director of Sarvodaya the Rice Foundation. First of all, on the behalf of the whole The Rice family, I welcome Vice Admiral Parasnath sir. Sir, it's an honor to host you and a privilege to learn about the Bay of Bengal dynamics directly from you, sir. Let me start with the basic question. Why an Amader Bengal webinar on the Bay of Bengal game? We started Amader Bengal with a vision, a vision to look closely at the public policy issues pertaining specifically to West Bengal. But can the destinies of West Bengal and the Bay of Bengal region be divorced from each other? Of course not. After all, it's in the name, isn't it? So West Bengal shares a 950-kilometer coastline with the Bay of Bengal, but the destinies of the two get intertwined much beyond the coastlines itself. If I ask this audience, what is the one thing common between the millennia apart Mauryan Empire, the Palas, and the British Empire? The answer is that each one of them owes to a great extent their riches to the Bay of Bengal, be it through trade, through transit, resource extraction, or even cultural expansion. And so it was no surprise that the centrality of Bay of Bengal led to 4 of the 5 co-sponsors of the Bandung Conference 1955, which was a landmark conference in itself. They were from the Bay of Bengal region itself, India, Indonesia, Burma, and Ceylon. But gradually, the Cold War geopolitics shifted the focus westwards to West Asia and eastwards to the Indo-Chinese peninsula. And this gradually dwindled the centrality of the Bay in the regional and global geopolitics. We all talk about the decline of Calcutta as well since independence. Has anyone wondered why does this decline coincide almost exactly with the gradual loss of primacy of the Bay of Bengal between the 1950s and the 1990s? The answer is clear. You see, for a state that is crisscrossed by rivers falling into the bay and that shares a coastline with the bay, the development inevitably has to happen through the bay. But today's session becomes even more important in the present times, much beyond the West Bengal focus. The bay waters today are heating up once again. In what looks like an interesting turn of events, the Bay of Bengal centrality in geopolitics is coming full circle today. The unprecedented rise of China next door and the brewing Sino-American rivalry in the Indo-Pacific theater will almost certainly draw the Bay of Bengal region into the great game. and the multiple minilaterals and initiatives that are propping up in this region, those buttress this proposition. Be it the Quad, the BIMSTEC, the Tokyo-led Big B Industrial Growth Initiative, India's Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project, the Great Nicobar Project, or even China's Belt and Road Initiative for that matter. The ADB, the AIIB, European Investment Bank, and other multilateral development banks are also investing massively in this region. And that is, of course, for the strategic influence and economic power projection of different geographies in the Bay of Bengal region. The Bay of Bengal, to my mind, in the coming times will no longer be just a buffer that the Indian mandarins viewed it as once upon a time. In my belief, the Bay waters may very well become the regional hub of the global supply chains in the coming future. And even from a regional perspective, if you see, an aspirational South Asia and a dynamic Southeast Asia makes it more imperative to unlock new opportunities by transforming the Bay into a geo-economic bridge rather than it being perceived as a geo-economic divider. But you see, the renewed vitality of the Bay brings with itself its own set of challenges also. As a potential playfield of the great power rivalries, this region can become hostage to intense geopolitical competition. In fact, it is becoming so as well. What were once mere geographical features of the Bay, starting right in the north from the Coco Islands, going down south up to the Malacca Strait, all are becoming now strategic assets that regional, proximate, and extra regional powers are jostling for. Political instability in this region too is becoming increasingly common. As the audience here would know that Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, Thailand, all of which belong to the Bay of Bengal region, all of them have faced to some degree political turbulence in the last 3 to 4 years. Of all these, in fact, the tectonic shifts that are happening specifically in the political and diplomatic landscape of Bangladesh are ominous signals for India. Few of the unwarranted statements by the leader of the present leader of Bangladesh regime also call for stricter watching out of this space. The non-traditional security threats in the Bay of Bengal too are rising. Climate change induced disasters are rising, illegal and unreported fishing, human trafficking, drug smuggling, refugee influx, latent civil wars, and even active conflicts all are potential distractions that can derail the Bay of Bengal from its promising future. And as a leading power in the region, India cannot and must not afford to remain a passive recipient of these shifts. In fact, it must lead in actively shaping the future of this region. The Indian Navy plays a key role in these endeavors of India. Its joint exercises, its operational readiness, its rapid response capabilities, all are vital guarantors for a free, inclusive, stable, and of course, a prosperous Bay of Bengal. And by extension, this also means development of West Bengal linked to Bay of Bengal. And even if you see the vice versa is also true, West Bengal's importance for the Bay of Bengal security is also very vital. The recent reports of the Indian Navy establishing a new base in Haldia points to the centrality of West Bengal here. And hence this talk. So I will end this opening remark with a quote by the great K.M. Panikkar, who I think summarized it quite well. It says that the freedom of India will hardly be worth a day's purchase if the Indian interests in the Indian Ocean are not to be defended by India. In fact, if we look at Bay of Bengal, it is the northeastern tip of the Indian Ocean, and it needs to be defended very well, especially in the increasingly competitive environment that we are living in. I think this is a good point to take the session forward from. Welcome, Vice Admiral, sir, once again. Thank you, and Jai Hind. Drishti, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our editorial lead, Sneha ma'am, to share a brief profile of our honorable expert. Ma'am.
Thank you, Drishti. Good evening, everyone. I know you all are very excited for the session, but before our honorable expert begins his address, let us take a moment to know the remarkable journey behind the uniform. The world knows him as a vice admiral in the Indian Navy, but every decorated uniform carries a story of struggle, sacrifice, and a strong support system. The story starts in the late 1940s in the village named Salimpur in Devariya district. This was the time when electricity had not reached the villages and the resources were limited. Father was in the Indian Railways, so there was an early exposure to discipline and public services. It was known that it's only education through which both social and economic mobility could be ensured. And so, every evening became a classroom at home where the young Parasar was taught by his father. Cut to the year 1962, a tough time for India. While on the borders, India had a major defeat in the hands of China. This father had made up his mind to send his children to the services. Yes, the defense services. His dreams got wings when Paras sir finally made it to the Sainik School, Lucknow. The journey had begun. There were difficulties, no doubt, but this journey didn't stop. At the age of 15, Paras sir entered as a young cadet at the National Defense Academy, Khadakwasla, Pune, and finally caught the commission on the 1st of January 1974 when he was just 19 and a half years old. But this was not the end of his academic journey because for him, learning never stopped. He completed his master's while serving the Indian Navy itself. During his career with the Navy, he held numerous challenging appointments, including the operational involvement in the peacekeeping operations of Sri Lanka. He has also been honored with the Ati Vishisht Seva Medal and the Vishisht Seva Medal for his exceptional service to the nation. With over 40 years of service in the Indian Navy, today Sir serves as a group president, Crowd Defense. We are extremely privileged and honored to have Vice Admiral Parasnath Sir among us at the second webinar session of Amader, Bengal. Thank you, sir, and over to you for the session. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, friends. First of all, let me tell you, I'm so delighted to be among you all. I call you all a startup, but the kind of already research work you have done, and Sneha, so many things you spoke about me, I didn't know all that. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be with you all, and I actually prefer and love to talk to younger generation, Gen Z. One learns a lot from young Z. And coming back to the introduction part of it today, it has already been covered pretty well, and that solves the problem. But what a topic you have chosen, security concerns in Bay of Bengal. The moment we talk about the Bay of Bengal, it looks like our own house. I mean, I feel all of us are going to talk or discuss about our own house, which is well known. We know the layout, we know the situation, we know the security concerns. So it's that much easier and better that what is way ahead, how we are going to move ahead in life, and what are the concerns of Bay of Bengal. Yes, as already initiated, I just quickly run over once again, just to recap the location and importance of Bay of Bengal. And then we move to the larger aspect of security concern. As I've been told to limit my talk to 15-20 minutes, I'll do that so that we can have more time for discussion and maybe discuss whatever concerns of security otherwise. Now, again, coming to Bay of Bengal, as you all know, it is all adjacent to Indian Ocean. And Indian Ocean region, 28 countries. You all know that India, one of the old saying is one who controls the Indian Ocean controls Asia. So it's very, very important that we know how critical it is to have our security concerns in the Indian Ocean. And why is it that so much of attention of the world in Indian Ocean, and coming to obviously the Bay of Bengal. As you all know, Bay of Bengal is one of the largest, it is the largest bay, almost 2.6 million square kilometers. The Bay of Bengal, the map in front of you, it borders, of course, India, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and of course, Andaman Nicobar Islands, which are owned. Bay of Bengal has been a business or hub of activities right from Chola dynasty, 10th century, when besides the trade part of it, they also had a ingress into the Indian Ocean region or Indonesia. The problems, some of them natural problems, of course, in Bay of Bengal are, which most of us are aware and we face it, are the cyclones. It's again known to be a very cyclonic area. Both times, one is during the pre-monsoon period, when from western end the cyclones enter, there are a lot of disturbance, and also in the monsoon's retreat, it's only goes south. So you all must be reading that almost every year, Haldia or West Bengal or Visakhapatnam, somewhere or other, one or cyclones kill. So that's another, it's a security concern. How over the years we have prepared, we have planned. The recent, you all may recall, the tsunami came and what disaster it brought in the Andaman Nicobar Island. So those are the natural disasters. But at the same time, Bay of Bengal is again one of the richest areas in terms of livelihood and of course whatever minerals available. You all must have heard about the Krishna Godavari basin, where already the hydrocarbons or gas reserves are there being exploited by India. In Myanmar and Bengal basin, again similar exploitation is being taking place by the concerned stakeholders. Besides, the waters in Bay of Bengal, as you all know, these are the warm waters, and throughout the year they are available for trade, for fishing, and millions of our men and personnel are having livelihood because of famous quality fish, hilsa, tuna, prawns, and they get exported. So this again is an attractive part for outsiders to come and exploit the resources. They come all the way from either Japan or Thailand or elsewhere into the mid of the bay and exploit it. But at the same time, our own people, our own men have the concerns to exploit and to harness our own livelihood. Besides the natural resources, again, is the location of Bay of Bengal is so beautiful, so important today that nearly 25% of the world trade moves through these waters from one end to the other end. And in particular, for China, 80% of Chinese oil reserves, oil import, move through tip of Indian, to our southern part of India and through the Bay of Bengal to Malacca Strait. It goes right up to Japan. As you see, Andaman Nicobar Islands, again so beautifully located in the Bay of Bengal. We have got right from the northern part, if you see Diglipur, Port Blair, Car Nicobar, Kamorta, Campbell Bay, all these islands and the bays are so beautiful located. I wonder if some of you must have visited. If not, you must make a point to visit these places and explore them. It's superb. It's absolutely out of the world, location. The major cities along the Indian coast itself. We start from Kolkata, Visakhapatnam, Chennai, and of course the other side, Port Blair, we spoke about. Now, seeing the security concerns, the major naval bases in the Bay of Bengal are Calcutta itself, we have got a naval establishment by name INS Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. It's a shipbuilding yard, Garden Reach. Then coming to Visakhapatnam, Visakhapatnam is the headquarters of Eastern Naval Command. That's one of the strongest we have in the Navy, naval domain. We have got three commands of the Navy: Eastern Command, Western Command, Southern Command. So Eastern Command headquarters are in Visakhapatnam. In Visakhapatnam itself, we have got of Visakhapatnam a recently commissioned establishment by name INS Varsha. Now, this establishment is basically the hub and shelter for all our nuclear submarines. Then INS Barge has been commissioned in Andaman Nicobar Islands. It oversees the 6 channel. INS Sarkars is another establishment in Visakhapatnam, and INS Utkarsh, the second establishment in Andaman Nicobar Islands. So these are the major Indian naval establishments. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, they have got BNS Sheikh Hasina, is a submarine base of their own. Myanmar has got its own base, and Sri Lanka has got Trincomalee. So now you look at the security concerns and why so many concerns and all over in the media and the news are always being discussed about Bay of Bengal. Because you must have heard of China building up something called string of pearls. String of pearls is around the Indian Ocean, starting from Gulf, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, come to Myanmar, and across, creating their own naval bases and own warships, patrolling, gathering information, and going on. So that is the Chinese interest. Now, how do we counter that? To counter string of pearls, India has started developing necklace of diamonds. Just to, obviously, we got to have our own security concerns and wherewithal to defend them. So we have got understanding with Oman, Singapore, Indonesia, and of course in northern part of Andaman Nicobar Islands. Coming to the main concerns of India's strategic, now the location of West of Bengal. If you have a look at it, on the northern part of West Bengal, very popularly or famously called Chicken Neck. The northern tip of West Bengal, and in fact eastern tip and northern tip of Bangladesh, is the Chicken Neck, which is also a strategic Achilles heel of India. The total gap, the distance, physical distance between Bangladesh and the Indian territory is just about 20 to 22 kilometers. There, the main hub, the countries joining in the neighborhood of Chicken Neck are Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. And just about 60 kilometers north of it, in Tibet, China has got their own very major base in Chumbi Valley. So, and it's so important that any disturbance with the Chicken Neck are 7 sisters on the eastern side and Sikkim. There have been concerns to support them, although in last decades or years, lots of development and lots of developments have taken place. We have developed our own air bases, army bases across the tip. And now the recent announcement you all must have heard in the budget that India is going to develop underground railway network of nearly 40 kilometers from the Indian side to go to the Seven Sisters, the Assam side. So this only shows our own concerns about security and what the country is coming to and what we need to protect. Either it is natural resources, physical areas. Of late, of course, our friend already mentioned that how in recent times disturbance or differences with Bangladesh, with China, are creating problems for the area. Very recently, the new government of Bangladesh, the advisor, he had taken Pakistani generals to the Chicken Neck area. He also mentioned in various meetings with the Chinese about the greater Bangladesh, which includes the Seven Sisters. Then he says he is the sole keeper of Bay of Bengal. So anyway, those are political speeches. We need not go into it. But yes, we need to be very cautious, careful of the future development to safeguard our own people, our own environment, and to ensure that the developments of our country, of our people, and in particular, the West Bengal, this is absolutely on top of the Bay of Bengal. Every asset is protected. I wonder if I'll mention about incident of 1971 war. Some of you must have read or heard, of course, most of you probably wouldn't have been born at that time during 71 war. I just about joined the Navy and we were passed out from NDA and still struggling into the Navy. In Vishakhapatnam, as you see, the waters around the east coast of India, that's Bay of Bengal, are very, very deep waters. Unlike West Coast is a shallow platform. So in East Coast, Pakistani submarine, Ghazi, they expected that then aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, now we've got a new Vikrant. The old Vikrant was somewhere in the harbor. They came, they dived there, they was waiting for INS Vikrant to come out of the harbor and to blast them. Now, of course, the strategy and the tactical planners that time, physically, INS Vikrant was present elsewhere, into the sea, into the ocean. But they had another ship by name INS Rajput, a destroyer, inside the harbor, and she was camouflaged to be aircraft carrier Vikrant. In the sense that all the electronics part, like normal communication is by signals, wireless method that used to be. So it was pretending that this is the aircraft carrier, like the strength on board a carrier is 3,000 people or various other requirements. So whenever he was making the signals, morning, evening, or getting settled on behalf of Vikrant, but actually Vikrant was elsewhere. But Ghazi and the Pakistani intelligence felt that Vikrant is there. And just when our Rajput ship was coming out, Ghazi was hiding to kill Vikrant, but Rajput was a destroyer and it was already located that one of the major biggest submarines of Pakistan was there. And finally, the submarine was sunk there at the mouth of Vishakhapatnam. And as Rajput blasted some depth charges and torpedoes. So this is why I'm bringing this out, is so critical for the enemy to be targeting our bases, the mainland. On the other side, of course, Western sector 71 war was much bigger, but that was one war of relevance to Bay of Bengal. That probably after the Second World War, this was the only war where a country was created within a matter of 15 to 16 days of war. And that, of course, our enemies will not appreciate it, they won't like it. But that was the importance of the area that the government have appreciated. Welfare and security of our own assets are much, much more important. And we hope that we build up. And now the northeast sector, look-east policy, northeast part are being developed. Much more efforts militarily and of course from industry point of view are being put in. So I'll leave it at that. Look forward to any other discussions, questions that you all have, and we can move on. Anyone?
शुरू कराओ.
Guys, you can ask sir questions and unmute yourself.
Yes, Yashasvi, please go ahead with your question.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir, for this insightful session. It was really great to know. I'm not personally from Bengal, but it was really nice for me to know all these details about Bay of Bengal and also the islands of Andaman Nicobar. And I was surprised to know that you did not discuss about BIMSTEC, that which was established for the Bay of Bengal, which was signed among countries.
Very nicely done. Yeah, that's a good question. BIMSTEC was established for the security of, or safety security of Bay of Bengal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, BIMSTEC has not been, because of the differences that we have just discussed, not been as strongly taken in as it was required. So otherwise, yes, BIMSTEC is in place. All the regional countries and the stakeholders are very much part of it. Regular meetings take place. See, today the way environment is moving, not only here in Bay of Bengal, but elsewhere, like SARC. We had a regional grouping, BIMSTEC, or you take Quad. In fact, you take United Nations itself, with the activities around, with the kind of comments coming in from US, or the war going on between Ukraine and Russia, in Israel, now Iran and US disturbance. So all over the world, the differences are so big, and BIMSTEC has definitely been there. Limit to that. It has all the members try to make it effective, discuss each other. But let me assure you, these are more of now have remained very, very formal organizations and meetings, where unfortunately, because of the geopolitical situation that we have all over the world, not only in this region, that most of these formal organizations are losing their weight. That's the only concern. And you go around all over. I mean, look at the problems created right from Libya, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, then Myanmar, the military junta. So our whole situation of security concerns is very, very important. So yes, good. That way, we are very fortunate that today we have got the leadership in the country who have very strong say across the board, who have a strong presence everywhere. India is one country which has got open to every other nation, talking to each other. So much, much better. But yes, I agree with you. BIMSTEC is another very, very important organization for Bay of Bengal.
Thank you, sir. Now we have Sujeshmita. Sujeshmita, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, hello, sir. Thank you for the insight that you shared. So I had a question about on the HADR operations as a strategic tool in the Bay of Bengal. So can you please enlighten? Sir, the HADR operations, the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief.
Okay, very nice. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See, as I mentioned in the opening part, Bay of Bengal is very prone to cyclones. See, when the western monsoons arrive in the month of May, June, July, you find that westerlies and the cyclones hit the upper part of Bay of Bengal. That is starting from West Bengal to Calcutta, Bangladesh, right up to Visakhapatnam. So that is always a fear. And when the monsoons retreat by in the month of October, November, again the cyclones come and heavy weather hits Chennai and that area, southern part of it. Now, it's very important. In fact, there was a time in a couple of years ago or decades ago when there used to be massive disaster along the coast. Whenever cyclones came, we lost hundreds and thousands of people, lost villages, lost property, whole lot of it. But now, within Indian Navy itself, we have got disaster relief groups. that even at the national level, we have got disaster relief groups across the country. Every state has got, and particularly in the eastern coast of India, Indian Navy is the main hub where every port, right from Haldia, you heard, very, very important port, to Chittagong. I mean, Chittagong, of course, was on the other side, but when a natural disaster takes place, again, many of the smaller countries look up to India. As I mentioned about tsunami itself, the Indian naval ships went across to various countries and gave relief. So that is there, the natural disaster. But yes, things are much in place, much more organized, and very quick reaction takes place whenever there is a requirement. Have I answered
Thank
your
you.
question?
Thank you, sir. Now, Arundhati, please go ahead with your question. Arundhati, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Um, so my question to you is, well, we know about China's gray zone tactics in the Bay of Bengal, right? So I recently came across this doctrine, the Sagar doctrine, which was then made into Mahasagar doctrine in 2025, I believe. So I was wondering if India's reliance on the Sagar doctrine is enough to deter, hybrid threats, maybe because of cyber incursion, as we are hearing from China, or other kinds of hybrid threats, particularly on Andaman ports.
Okay, that's again a very relevant question in the Bay of Bengal. You see, in Andaman, very recently, you may have read or seen on the southern part of Andaman, Sri Kar Nicobar, which is also called Indira Point, the government is developing a very major port. Of course, there have been environment concerns also, because that is the choke point. And what they call, they are developing a unsinkable aircraft carrier. That means it will be a base. It has got a huge, air base. Your air squadrons are based there. They will be able to monitor all the trade coming from the Gulf region, going to the China Sea or Japan, and the choke point will be controlled and overseen by these islands. So that's a very important area being developed. It is well known, and particularly Sagar to Mahasagar. Yes, these are the concepts, they are there. One follows them. But rest assured, the preparations by the government, by our own forces are very much in place. And it's a counter. See, today, as I spoke about all of the developed by China, you can't close your eyes. You got to have your countermeasures. Now, you see the nuclear arms race. This is our country. In here, in fact, three nuclear powers bordering each other: China, Pakistan, India. And there, the concerns of the whole world, any misadventure can be disastrous. So, at the same time, conventional warfare and preparation for conventional warfare have to be very, very strong. You all have recently seen and observed what had happened for Operation Sindoor, how important it was and how quick and timely, and within matter of few hours, your aims were achieved, whatever targets given were achieved. And yes, at the same time, the world oversaw what are the capabilities of India, how reactive or proactive now India is. So definitely, all our plans for Mahasagar and development of Andaman Nicobar Islands are very much in place. And rest assured, in times to come, they will be stronger.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arundhati. Thank you, sir. Drishti, can you please go ahead with your question?
Thank you, sir, for your insights. Sir, I just want to ask you about current geopolitical scenario-based question. Sir, as Myanmar's junta moves to operationalize China's Chaopiu deep sea port and Sino-Myanmar pipelines in 2026, despite the Arakan army's escalating control over the Rakhine states and simultaneously facilitates Chinese military surveillance infrastructure on the Coco Islands. So, how should India's command prioritize the Kaladan multimodal project? And given the dual threat of Chinese intelligence signals on the Coco Islands targeting our Andaman command in the potential for the Chaopiu port to host a Chinese naval presence, how does this Kaladan project serve as critical strategic arterial to prevent the internal destabilization of northeastern states?
Okay. This is very neatly put in. You see, Coco Island have been a concern for India for a very, very long time. The Myanmar is much closer to the northern tip of Andaman Nicobar Islands, and Chinese have always been trying to create a base for themselves. Fortunately, the Bay of Bengal is take full length of it towards the Indian favor. So from the land border in Myanmar, obviously from China till the southern tip of Myanmar, they have developed a road link, and again Belt and Road total corridor it falls into. But the development in Northeast definitely, I mean, very unfortunate if we can say that the Northeast, should we say it has been neglected for a very, very long time. In bordering Myanmar or the areas coming to all our seven sisters, they are very, very rich in resources. I mean, Northeast is either you take natural resources or, in fact, even petroleum products have been there exploited for a very, very long time, right from British days. But development has not been as good as it was required. Although we have got our Eastern Air Command, we have got all the linkages in the bordering areas, but now the rail head has already gone right up to top. That means our assets, military and civil assets, move on faster. And now this, when the new rail link comes, underwater rail, that's only going to be much stronger. And I think we will be in time to come. The governments of the day have realized the potential. You see the budget itself, the recent budget. You know, the old saying is, if you want peace, be prepared for war. There is absolutely no way that you can afford to neglect your fighting capability and capacity any longer. That's the only way to keep your enemies away, to keep the whoever has bad eyes on you to keep off. You got to be strong internally and externally. Your economy is doing, and in fact, we know everyone talks and screams. Is the next generation, is particularly, I mean, your generations, you all are going to be seeing tremendous amount of developments, opportunities today within the country. The way opportunities are coming up in terms of electronics, in terms of services, or whatever, whichever field you take, is marvelous. And of course, it's our younger generation. They will see what they are now talking about 2047 developed India, when wishes and praise that yes, it comes up. Yeah.
Sir, if I may ask one more question related to this.
Sure.
Sir, specifically, if the Siliguri corridor is neutralized during a conflict, can the Kaladan route provide the necessary military and logistics redundancy to prevent a total isolation of the Seven Sisters, while simultaneously countering the Arakan army's influence on our border security?
No, definitely, Kaladan will be a big asset. But at the same time, you see, there's a limitation of time. If you have got an open area, like your air traffic will go. But when it comes to northern tip, one hand is China, south is Bangladesh, but this corridor will be very, very important because main movement from our mainland to northeast is going through the corridor. In fact, earlier Bangladesh government was friendly. One had thought that we will be getting passages across Bangladesh, but you never know how the situation changes. But yes, the project Kazan will be able to meet our requirements to a large extent, but at the same time, total support from mainland cannot be avoided.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Prateek, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thank you. So, sir, I have done in the past, I have done a research in the deep sea domain, and from there, my insights are, and you also talked about this fact that now the technologies are coming up, which are making the warfare more precise, more beyond visual range. So, there is also the concept of autonomous underwater vehicles, which are coming up in the deep sea domain. And even if we see the Russia-Ukraine front, there we see how new technologies can drown massive navies of the Russian navy, which is there. So they have the Magura AUV, Magura underwater surface USVs, unmanned surface vehicles. So how is Indian Navy's doctrine going to adapt and shift to these new technologies? And also, what are the Indian Navy's efforts in this direction? So this is the aspect I wanted to learn from.
Thank you, Pradeep. See, unmanned vehicles, either you take drones in the air or unmanned underwater vessels, underwater drones. Definitely, I can assure you that a lot of research is going on in India. In fact, I personally feel, not with the official knowledge of it, but I personally feel we have already gone ahead and maybe we've got some assets. If time comes, we should be able to use, because the kind of trials that are going on, our own DRDO has been able to develop a lot of new technology vehicles in our country. Besides, we also have the support from other countries. Transfer of technology today we have in a big way. In fact, the group I am working for, after retirement, is also a defense-related group. We do work for Army, Navy, Air Force in MRO or some other support required. A lot is being done. We are there into drone manufacturing also. And today, you saw in Operation Sindoor itself, so much of activities, Turkish drones, how they were shot down by the Indian armed forces, and not a single one could really do any harm. So yes, these are the concepts, they are there. And as you go more into it, maybe sooner than later, there will be a declaration that yes, India has developed and we are way ahead. Definitely lots of work is going on, and most of the classified projects. But yes, definitely we are taking care of the future. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Shobit, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for this insightful session about giving more knowledge of Bay of Bengal and its role in India's security and the world. Sir, with growing US and China relation normalization, how would it impact India in the Asia? Will not it leave India more vulnerable to China?
No, going normalization between whom? US and China.
Yes, sir. Sir, US also on normalizing relationship with China, and it also doing it with India. So, sir, if it's if it's going to give China a free hand in Asia, will it not directly impact India's interest and security?
See, that's Shobit. That's again it's such a complex situation of foreign policies. They say that there are no permanent friends, it's only permanent interests anywhere. Definitely, US, the way it is going today, there are, appearing differences between NATO and US, between Europe and US. India, yes. I mean, although we have got differences with China, we have got problem border areas, but look at the trade. Even the last year, we had maximum trade with China. So it's the interest part that is there, where you have to be cautioned. A lot of controversy going on about a book written by the former army chief. Lots of it is going on, of course, not published. But definitely, the foreign policy looks at your own interest. US has got its own interest with China, but at the same time, US has got larger interest in India, the two biggest democracies, the market we have, the expertise we have. And why is it a very large number of industries are shifting into India? Because expertise, the market itself in the country, look at Apple to so many other industries having shifted. So it's all the interest is there. Definitely it affects. But when it comes to real crux of war scenario, totally different. Again, coming back to Operation Sindoor, it came out that Chinese were giving information, Chinese aircrafts were flying, Pakistan holds it. There were drones from Turkey. But at the same time, India had taken Americans into confidence that yes, we are going to do that, take action for Russian. You look at 71 war. During 71 war, obviously India was absolutely on it to liberate Bangladesh. But at the same time, US 7th Fleet came into Indian Ocean, came to Bay of Bengal, up to Bay of Bengal to, discourage India from attacking Pakistan or creating Bangladesh. But the counter came from Russian side. We got the fleet support. So these are all power showing. See, today, again, you will realize, Shobit, no country wants to fight for other. Yes, actually, all the developed world, if you see, why not? They're all making money. If war is on between Pakistan, India, or China, somebody is going to supply the arms, the missiles, the ships, the aircraft. So they are looking at their own money. But at the same time, even though NATO Europeans are supporting the Russian opponent in the Ukraine war, no physical presence are being sent. Human body, nobody wants to carry human bodies of their own country. So this is there. This one has to, China, the geopolitical situation across the board, all over the country, everybody has got interest. Now look at Europe. We have signed the trade deal after only 20 years plus deliberation. Why? They were also keen that, where is the India is today, definitely with the economic growth, with the growing youth, strong youth, growing population, the youngest country in the world. Whilst others are aging, we still have the young generation like you all to really take on the load and work on. So there will be Chinese effect, there will be American effect. But yes, we all have to guard our own interest. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Paris, sir. One more question. Arghya Datta. Can you please unmute yourself and ask?
Arghya, yeah.
Namaste, sir. Arghya Datta, the source, but my name is Aditya Banerjee. My question is for Indian livelihood. We all know that in the coastal areas there are many people who live their life for fishing, and there are many environmental issues. This all session talks about external politics, and that's the topic named Bay of Bengal is a game. So my question is, in the light of recent developments such as India's expansion of naval infrastructure in the Bay of Bengal, how does India balance this domestic livelihood and environmental concerns with its external strategic and naval ambitions? That's all.
Okay, as we discussed, Bay of Bengal are our own waters around. We are very fortunate to have warm waters throughout the year. None of the coastal areas or seas get frozen, unlike other parts of the world. So you have got the richness of the marine products available, which provide livelihood to all the coastal area and the population around, is very, very strong. Now, one of the discussions going on today in the media is about US and India trade deal. How is it? Why everybody is harping about fisheries, agriculture, and other products? Because government is very cautious. I mean, there is no government in India can take a chance of you know being any taking any step against the interests of the farmers or the fishing community. In fact, the quality of fish, most of you would be knowing, in the Bay of Bengal, either hilsa, tuna, prawns. I mean, they're the best in the world, and maximum is exported to other countries. In fact, uh, at high seas, particularly off Andaman Nicobar, very often Taiwanese trawlers are chased out. They come, they have got virtually at sea fishing factory. The trawlers come in the mid-sea, they anchor, they have got the mothership, they've got smaller vessels, they keep fishing and they keep processing on the ship. Processing, they have got ice factory, they process, pack it, and take it away. But at the same time, our own fisheries and the committee, the government has developed a lot. In fact, in Visakhapatnam, we have got quite a few now fisheries factories have come up where they process the prawns and freeze it to be exported. Similarly, in Tamil Nadu, you go down to Mandapam and Rameshwaram area, they've got large number of fishing hubs where they come and export. So that's it's a very, very conscious way of working, that yes, we cannot let go of our natural resources. And not only that, in fact, one of the things in Bay of Bengal which is not yet being discussed very much is the rare earth. It's already been coming out that yes, there is plenty of rare earth in this mid-sea. And let's see, it's of course expensive to exploit and dig it, but a time will come when it becomes affordable. So definitely the fishing community, and it's a big industry and big population. No way one can afford to neglect.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Shobit has one follow-up question. Shobit?
Sir, I just want to ask one thing. Sir, as India is also looking to have a trade deal with China, as China needs India for its products, and the same time China is not is still claiming its claim on Arunachal and other northeastern states. Sir, will not it create a deep mistrust between India, as China wants to do economical benefit with us, at the same time challenging our sovereignty and territorial interest?
Definitely. In fact, that's one discussion comes in, that China side, they keep saying that let's not mix up the two. Let's leave border issues separate and discuss the trade. But government of India is very clear, we cannot separate it. So whilst Chinese policy claim, historical perspective has been how Akshay Chin went to China from Pakistan, or on the Tibet border and Indian borders, the problems have continued. Similarly, Chinese claim of Arunachal, yes, they do that. These checkmates will go on, but at the same time, we cannot be affording totally to close our eyes on the trade. After all, a very, very large industry of our own country, you're dependent on Chinese imports. And why we? Almost the world is dependent. You know, the way things have been in last couple of decades, China has moved way ahead in manufacturing, in development, and where everything is available at half the price or less. So you have to balance it. We have to move on. Yes, you safeguard your own interests of the country in terms of security and physical holding, but at the same time, you take advantage of whatever possible. Similarly, and in fact, if you see in the media, so far there have been no differences come up between India and China about trade, because the tariff is not yet as pronounced as elsewhere. So nobody is talking about it, neither India nor China. But the trade is going on, and our, in fact, trade deficits with China is huge. But that is one area where, again, I'm sure government is also worried that how we can, bridge the gap. And the only way is that when the manufacturing increases in the country, yes, it will balance it out. But yes, your question of our border areas, and at the same time, how do we move ahead on trade and business?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I ask our editorial lead, Sneha ma'am, to summarize the address and the Q&A session. Ma'am.
Thank you for your insights, sir. It was great talking to you. Sir, to summarize, sir talked about the potentials in the Bay of Bengal region, be it the KG basin, the trade, the fishing, the oil imports, and the rare earth minerals. Also, sir talked about the major bases, be it Calcutta, Vishakhapatnam, and Andaman and Nicobar. Apart from the potential of the Bay of the Bengal region, sir talked about the problems that are rising, be it the cyclones, the threat from the string of pearls from China, the chicken neck issue, the threat from the China-Pakistan collaboration, the concerns with respect to the formal organizations like BIMSTEC, and the trawlers issue. He also talked about the concern with respect to the Coco Island. Further, moving ahead, sir showed immense support and for the steps taken by and enthusiasm for the steps taken by the government, be it the research on the underwater assets, the Saga doctrine, the unsinkable aircraft carrier which the government is working on, and the underground railway network that was recently announced in the budget. Further, further, sir highlighted the need for the preparation for a conventional and non-conventional war both, and the necessity for the development of the northeast region of India. And providing a way forward, sir also talked that one who controls the Indian Ocean controls Asia. And that's the way we end it. Now I ask Drishti and Shibabrata to please present a vote of thanks. Thank you so much, sir.
Now I ask Shibabrata, our other project coordinator, to present the vote of thanks. Shibabrata, over to you.
নমস্কার স্যার। আজ ভাইস অ্যাডমিরাল পড়াশোনা স্যার হচ্ছে আমাদের মধ্যে অমূল্য সময় এবং আমাদের মধ্যে আপনার অন্তর্দৃষ্টি আমাদের মধ্যে শেয়ার করে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ জানাই। স্যার আমার প্রণাম নেবেন। ধন্যবাদ জানাই আমাদের হচ্ছে ডাইরেক্টর ও সর্বদয়া রাইস ফাউন্ডেশনের প্রতীক স্যারকে। ধন্যবাদ জানাই হচ্ছে আমাদের এডিটোরিয়াল লিড হচ্ছে স্নেহা ম্যাডাম এবং আমার সহযোগী প্রজেক্ট কোঅর্ডিনেটর হচ্ছে দৃষ্টি মজুমদারকে অসংখ্য ধন্যবাদ জানাই এবং ধন্যবাদ জানাই আমাদের বেঙ্গলের দ্বিতীয় ওয়েবিনারে উপস্থিত থাকা সকল ইন্টার্নদেরকে এবং আগামী দিনে অনেক শুভেচ্ছা রইল ইন্টার্নদেরকে।
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sneha, your team, Shibrata, Drishti, Pratik, thank you very much. And this is wonderful and very nice knowing you all, that the kind of initiative you all are taking and moving ahead. And I wish you all the very best of luck to develop into a popular big team and take your targets ahead. Thank you very much. Best of luck.
Thank you, Parasnath, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir.
God bless. God bless. Okay. See you all.